Okay. So I just saw this. So I was like in McDonald's, right? And I'm gonna try not to make this week, but I love these little here, I'm gonna pull you guys closer so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. Okay. I feel like you'll be able to hear me. Hopefully you should. Okay, so I'm in McDonald's, right? And I'm like watching the Madison Brown video. And it was super interesting. She's talking about like, the uglyification of women or whatever. And then all of a sudden this like child abductor notification comes on. So it's called an Amber Alert. So when like a child is stolen, this like alert goes off. And the only thing that I could think about was like like in the middle of the video stopped playing and it was like all this buzzing and all my appliances are like going off. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, what retard, like who is out here trying to steal babies? Because like, do people not understand like what you're signing up for? It's like an expense. It's like the same thing as like getting a puppy or something. Like, okay, so then after the person steals the baby, they realize they're gonna have to like take care of the baby, like raise the kid, clothe, feed, educate. Like, I'm sorry, like the whole idea of it just doesn't even make any sense. Like, people are barely out here taking care of themselves. Like, all I could think about, like, I'm to whoever's family that is, like, I'm so sorry that happened. But also, like, why? This society is so strange in all the ways. Like, and then the weird part about that too, so as I was like walking away and that whole weirdness was like on my mind, I'm like, people's whole idea of like adulting is like just completely backwards in all the ways. And maybe that's like such a weird take, but I am so fucking serious. Like, it is, so many things are fucking exhausting. And then I think other people are like I've seen all these signs, like when I was like riding to the mall, there was like all these signs, save the children, save the youth. And I'm thinking like, who saved us? You know what I mean? Like, or who's like, if you're out here saving yourself, then you don't have this feeling of like, let me be concerned about all the other people. Like, I think we need to have a little bit more like selfishness and like seriously, like people need to be out here saving themselves. Like, save yourself first, okay? And then try to think about saving someone else. Like, what? Like the future. How about the now? Like, it's so weird. Like, everyone, or not everyone, but some people are like, how can you be super concerned about like people on the news and shit talking about helping the immigrants, helping the refugees and all this shit? What about the people who are already here? Like, even at the park today, I feel like I passed like 30 homeless people. So what about them? Nobody gives a shit about them, but you want to take on new problems? Like, time out. Make it make some sense for a second. Like, quite literally, like, let's stop for a second and make some shit make some sense. Because like, there's already like and then, okay, so to put this even further like into context, in America right now, there seems to be like tons of, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like I've heard Tiffany Haddish talk about that because she grew up as an orphan. So there's like a really big problem with like youth who have no families, who are here right now, who could use families. Like I said before, everybody who wants to be in relationships is, okay, everybody who wants to be parents are, people who want to be married are, and men who want to be decent members of society, they're already doing that. We don't need like a whole YouTube revolution to tell people how to be decent. They know how. Like, really, because it ain't that hard. Like, if you've been out here doing it the whole time, then you just stay on that path, and then there's not this big amount of confusion, and there isn't all of these like, there is adversity. Don't get me, there is adversity, but the adversity would be like how, see, here's another thing, like, sometimes when I hear people talking about adversity, it's not specifically related to the actions that they've taken to try to like solve their own problem. It's simply related to like a story that they've heard about somebody else solving a problem. Like if you're too busy taking the action to like solve your problem, you don't have time to be out here like focused on someone else's problem. You see, like how can I say this? Like some people wonder like, why did I go into after school? Like, why would I care about that? Well, it's because I had already spent like my whole life in after school programs and in the ones that I was like working with. So it just seemed to like align. But then it was like super weird because it's like, oh, okay, so clearly this community in which I grew up in, which like I contributed to, is not, I'm not even good enough for like that there's so many parts of that to this day, like I don't want to spend the emotional labor trying to understand it, because it doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. Like it doesn't feel like it makes any sense. Those are the types of questions you ask when you seek reform, when you seek to like be here in the future. But like I just don't. And like the weird part about it is I wonder too, because a lot of the problems that I continue to like communicate about, where I'm like, this is a problem that I've seen in the particular space, other people seem to have these ideas of like, oh, it's only a problem for her, it's not a problem for us, we're never going to confront this. And then what they fail to realize is that like everybody starts somewhere, right? So like some problems you don't understand contextually because like you haven't hit that milestone yet. I feel like I was talking about this with Jordan, but then and we kind of had put it into words. It's basically like this level thing. Like let's say that you are at level 3 or something in your adulting life, where like you figured out how to like maintain a job, how to like pay some bills, how to like feed and clothe yourself. Okay, so maybe you're at like level 2 or 3. But then you might come across someone who's at like level 9, right? Like they own a home, they're like married, they've got 4 kids and 2 in college or something. Like they're way farther along than you. That doesn't really, I don't actually know if it makes sense, first of all, to compare yourself to someone who's at level 8 if you're at level 2. Just because you have so much further to go. Like you can't actually relate to those problems yet. If you were at level 8 though, and then you were experiencing problems at level 8, then it would make sense for you to start to compare. But then you also have to put in context that if you're at level 2, there's somebody else who's at level 0. Like they haven't even started yet. It's like all the people who are still like living at home with their parents, playing video games and smoking weed all day, they're at level 0. So like they are not even a part of this conversation yet. And either way, the person who's at level 0, they can't compare their situation to you who's at level 2 because y'all aren't at the same place. And so to go back to that, how does this relate to me? So I've already, like I didn't skip a lot of steps, but I kind of like fast tracked myself beyond a lot of problems just by the strict amount of privilege that I've had and taken advantage of. So some people are thinking like they are also going to be fast tracked and like be able to do what I did. Except some opportunities just don't come along again. And there's this real thing about context in terms of being at the right place at the right time and having certain shit happen where it just doesn't come along again. Which I think is very funny. Like people seem to want to dial down on this Ariel story as though they're going to be able to learn something from it. But I will say this, I wasn't at level, I might have said I was maybe at like level 9. That's where I was. If you are here from the Ariel story. So I was at like level 9. And I was literally in community with other people who were at like level 9. So like I can't stop being at level 9. Like all the lessons I've learned are lessons because I've gone through all the other levels. I went through level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get 8 to get to level 9. And so I think what some people believe is that like, oh no, she wasn't really at level 9. Oh no, it was a facade. It was a joke or something. You don't get to level 9 without understanding how to get to, you're not like thrown into level 9. It's not like the nepotism story. Even the nepotism people Like, they were given opportunity, but they also took the opportunity. It's kind of like if someone gives you a basket of garlic fries, you do have a choice. You can either eat the garlic fries or not. So, like, all those people who you guys are like, oh, well, they got this privilege to get this acting job. Yeah, but then they did the acting job, right? So, like, after they did the acting job, now they have the experience, and you can't take the experience away. They have the experience. Like, they have the experience. Now, how they got the experience, the opportunity that came along, like, whatever. The truth is that the thing happened. The thing happened. I don't know. I think it's the interesting part to me is, like, it's mostly like the men in the story, I guess, because, like, I have no doubt, there's no doubt in my mind that whoever is abducting children is a male. There's some male who's out here being awful, doing awful shit, and ruining society, because, like, that's just what they do. Like, you never really see, except if it's like a woman who, some stories are very strange. Like, I feel like I have read some stories that are a little bit backwards. They're just like some women who are just so lost, and I think most of it has to do with, like, trauma, but probably, like, misunderstanding. Like, this woman is behaving this way because she just doesn't understand. But on the flip side of that, there's a lot of women who I feel like do understand. And we are out here trying to, like, communicate, like, what we're experiencing, and we're just being gaslit. Like, nobody cares. And this is why I feel like I continue to have to come on here and make these YouTube videos and really find my own personal way of self-expression that doesn't really have to do with community or other women. It specifically does not have to do with white womanhood. Like, we are not having the same experience, and the only thing I could say is, like, I have to start and end this story moving myself so far away from other women so that nobody's able to try to make any sort of, like, pattern matching out of it. There's no pattern matching if I'm not in the same space as you. I don't have any relationship with you. We have nothing shared. Like, not a shared experience, not a shared community, not a shared song, not a shared friendship, just nothing. Like, every single thing about your lived experience is so different from my own that there's absolutely no pattern matching. Like, that is what I have tried to do with my social engineering, because I want Black women to make sure that they understand that every single step that we have taken has been despite all of the other people and their privilege. Like, every fucking step. Like, you guys saw me being like Wednesday before Wednesday was popular. Let's go back to those Instagram accounts that are, like, time stamped, okay? How long have we been here with Olivia's counterculture? A long fucking time. So let's remember where we started and keep fucking going forward. I don't want to repeat this shit anymore. I'm tired. And the weird part about it, I think there's this idea of, like, oh, this is the villain story. This is not the villain story. This is the survival story. And I wish it wasn't. Like, I don't want to have evil survival stories, but that's what this is turning into. It's like every day that goes by, there's just another version of this evil survival story. I don't want to be the villain here, but if I continue to try to seek justice and no fucking justice comes, then what? There's not another thing. There's nothing else. Oh, no, seriously. That's it. Like, you can either try to do the right thing and be honest, which for some reason, in relation to me, that shit is completely gaslit. Everyone loves to be like, oh, mental health. Oh, it's because she's not. Oh, sanity. Oh, I'm sane, but she's not. Therefore, when I lie, she's a lie. Like, no. And the weird fucking part about it that is, like, there's some expectation that you're supposed to be so confident, so fucking confident in this experience that no one has ever lived, that no one's ever talked about, that no one's ever given any fucking examples of, nothing. But still, you're supposed to sit there and you're supposed to be like, yes, I deeply understand and I can communicate this to everyone who, like, in real society fucking hates me. and has made songs and videos and articles and marches and rallies and murder mysteries and actual murder homicides about how much they hate me personally as not only like a black person, but like a black woman, a human in this fucking country. And I'm supposed to be like, I am strong, I am ready, I am capable. No, I'm sorry, I don't feel like that. I don't feel strong, I don't feel capable, I don't feel worthy. What I literally feel is that there's like air flowing through my lungs, yes. I recognize that I'm alive, yes. But honestly, that's about as far as it goes. Like, I don't have more than that. I don't have more than that. That is all I have. That's all I have. It's a weird thing to say. No, really, it's a fucking weird thing to say. That's how I feel though.